I was working at Fox on another movie in '89, and while I was shooting that movie, the executives suggested that I would do Die Hard 2, which they wanted to start very soon. So it was a very quick process. Literally, I started preparing this movie while I was still shooting the other one.
I told you the Park Drive is always jammed.
I didn't say Park Drive. I said through the park.
They came back to me again with the next time they wanted to make one. And we talked and worked on it and developed, and they were willing to shift it so that there was, you know, something of a new movie.
What the fuck do you think this is, huh? The safety patrol here? This is the resume of a professional mercenary. You got the world's biggest drug dealer on his way here now. What do you need, a slide rule to figure this out? Or maybe another body in a zipper bag before you start asking questions?
The screenwriting process was very exciting. There were basically three cooks in the kitchen. There was the writer, Steven D'Souza, the producer, Joel Silver, and myself. What I love about Steven is that he has endless amount of ideas. Sometimes the logic is not necessarily quite airtight. So the real challenge in the movie is that Bruce Willis goes through many sequences where he is required to use a gun or to get into a fist fight and different kind of action. And real problem for us was to figure out how does he get a gun from somewhere and use it, yet then lose it, so that in the next scene he can't use it because he has to be in a fist fight, and then yet again a little later he has to have a gun again. So this was one of our biggest logistical nightmares, besides the fact that we had to get him from A to B. And it's winter time, it's an airport, it's runways. So we invented a lot of things, such as tunnels under the airport and things like that, which don't necessarily exist in real life at all. The movie has many things that actually it seems like the audience bought, though there were inventions, I can list you a few, which don't really exist, such as tunnels under the runways don't really exist. Earphones, the way we use them in the movie. Bruce is able to talk to his wife on the plane, and you really can only call out from an earphone. I don't think even today, which is now over 15 years later, I don't think you can call a plane. You can call from the plane to somebody, but nobody seemed to mind the fact that he actually calls his wife on the plane.
Yeah, this is Lieutenant McClane. Somebody that just beat me?
I'd like to think I'm somebody.
Honey.
What are you doing? Where are you? Did you land yet?
Honey, it's the 90s, remember? Microchips, microwaves, faxes, airphones.
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, progress peaked with frozen pizza.
One sequence, which was kind of a famous Steven D'Souza moment, where Bruce gets trapped in this cargo plane and the bad guys surround the place and he has no way out, which is of course like the perfect action movie situation when you put the hero in an unbelievable situation that is completely impossible to resolve. Yet, because he's so resourceful, he does. And here we were, not able to figure out, well, how is he gonna get out of here? There's like 10 guys around him. And so I actually came up with the idea that what if there was an ejection seat in this plane and he actually gets out that way? Well, cargo planes don't have ejection seats, but nobody seemed to mind the fact that we put one on this C-130 plane, and it actually turned out to be one of the more exciting sequences.
They let me, with Die Hard 3, turn it into a two-hander. I'd seen Sam Jackson in something, I don't remember what. And just, I don't know, I was fascinated with him. He's a really interesting actor.
If you have to shoot me, then you go ahead and you shoot me. But I have to answer this phone.
And I wanted to put him together with Bruce. And the gimmick was that Sam is the Republic and Bruce is the screw-up. And that was the idea. And they're both such good actors that they were a lot of fun. You know, they could reestablish the sense of fun that I tried to get in the original one. And watching the two of them together was.
You know how to pick this lock?
Is this some black shit again?
Hey, will you stop with that racial shit? Are you a fucking locksmith or not?
Yeah, I could do it if I had something to do it with.
This was a very challenging movie to make. We decided to go to Denver, trusting that there would be a lot of snow there because we are up north and it's the middle of the winter. But as It is sometimes in movie shoots, anything that could go wrong will go wrong. And we ended up having the warmest winter in North America in 35 years. So we had gone to Denver, we had shot some of our scenes, and all of a sudden we have no snow, and we need snow coverage for the runways and all the different sequences. So we basically start looking for snow. We have scouts all around North America, and including Canada, and we get reports from here and there. There's some snow here, but it's melting, and there's supposed to be some snowfall here, but we're not sure. And we have an armada of planes. We simply pack our planes full of our crew and equipment. We just pack them full of everything and fly to the next location. And several times we arrived there and the snow is gone. So we just kept flying and chasing snow, and we ended up using foam, what the firemen use, that kind of foam covering areas. In Denver, we had one night when we actually had a snowstorm all of a sudden that was so harsh that you could see maybe 5 feet in front of you. And again, we couldn't shoot. And I remember that night very well. I had a wonderful producer on this show, Joel Silver. And he really solved these problems and made things work so that we actually could get the movie shot. But that night, when we are standing in the snowstorm after not having snow, and we can't see anything, he looked at me and he said, "I might have bitten too big of a bite this time." And that got me scared, because I thought, if he's worried, then I should be really worried. But ultimately, we got it all done.
This movie looks completely different than the original Die Hard. It's a lot edgier. It's a lot more informal. And the original was very formally staged, actually. This looks like it almost just happened in New York City on the streets.
Oh, that's my bike!
Hey, what are you doing? Take your statement that way.
Guess I was wrong about you. You're not such an asshole after all.
No, you were right. I'm just your kind of asshole.
We had lots of sequences in Die Hard 2 that I really enjoyed making and designing. I like the sequence we did in the conveyor belt area of the luggage storage areas. It probably looks fairly realistic, but as one can guess, there's no way we could go to shoot in a real place like that. They're all computerized, and it would be extremely dangerous, and the kind of stunts we needed to do would be completely impossible. So we built that entire thing. All the conveyor belts, the whole thing is built. And the idea that there's actually a machine that can crush your head is absurd. I mean, what would happen to your luggage if it went through that, and it's just all your fancy stuff that you have in your luggage just goes squash. But we did it because we wanted it for the story, and it worked. I like to shoot out in this sort of a terminal area. Interesting footnote is maybe that this is one of the first times that we ever have seen Robert Patrick on screen. He has one line in the movie. He's terrorist number 8.
What do I look like to you?
A sitting duck.
That's his only line in the movie. And of course, Robert Patrick went on then to be in the Terminator movie and X-Files. It's interesting how you start people like that in very small roles, and they go on to do bigger and better things. The biggest and the most complicated scene, which was kind of unique at that time, I think, was the scene with the 747 taking off and the helicopter chasing it, and Bruce Willis's character having to actually jump onto the wing of the moving plane and all that. Those were complicated and dangerous things to do, yet we had great professionals who made it possible. I really enjoyed doing that stuff. We actually built an entire wing of a 747 on stage, which you would never realize how gigantic this thing is until you build it. It's really mind-blowing how big these things are.
We actually built our own subway station and a subway train. It was a hoot. They took the engines out of the electric motors out of the subway, and then they put 4 Chevy 454s in it. In one car. If you dumped all the other cars and you just drove the one, you could really roar back and forth with that thing. It was great. I used to catch the crew late at night. playing on drag races on the subway. No, we built our own because the work we had to do was so extensive that we couldn't have worked in a real subway station.
The greatest set we had in Die Hard 2 was really a set like I've never seen before. We had the big 20th Century Fox stage, which is a famous big stage where big old Hollywood musicals have been made and many, many big movies. We had the entire stage made into an airport. In the center of it, we had the air traffic control tower, which we built there, and outside it, we had a forced perspective miniature airfield. Everything with the planes and the runways, everything built in forced perspective so that it looks completely realistic, though runways are maybe only 200, 300 feet long, but they look like they went on for miles. We had little miniature planes on wires flying through the air and all that.
Yeah, piece of cake. Give us something harder next time.
But you're 10 seconds late.
No, the answer is one. There's a bomb in the trash.
The movie takes 2 or 3 kind of radical turns and leaves people going, whoa, wait a minute.
Detective! Bob Thompson, City Engineer's office. We'd like to get an idea of the damage.
So that seemed like a new movie. That isn't doing the same movie again. This is a different movie. And that was why this one was attractive to me.
Say hello to your brother.
Get out of here!
God, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yep, it sure is.
When I saw the film really finished, I was very proud of it, I was very happy, yet because we had such a tight schedule, I felt that we could have done better. There were certain scenes that I think we could have edited better, certain pacing of the movie that could have been better, certain character moments that we could have concentrated on more. Overall, I was very happy. I loved it, but I felt that if we had had the time to reflect on it a little bit and look at it and talk about it, it could have been even more interesting.
Oh, I love you so much.
Oh, John, why does this keep happening to us?